Welcome. I'm so excited. You are about to change your life through real estate investing. It changed my life. If you don't know me, my name is Alan Corey. I'll be your instructor. I created this class. I've got 23 years of real estate investing experience. I'm going to share with you the mistakes, the failures, so you don't repeat them, but also the successes. This should make your life as a real estate investor much easier to navigate and really be more successful than I was because I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a guide. All I had were books and trial and error. I'm trying to save you all of that headache. So I'm so excited that you're taking this class. Now, one caveat, right? I can't guarantee your success. You have to take the knowledge I give you. You have to take the steps I give you, the homework I give you, the resources I give you, and you have to apply them. Like there's going to have to be work on your side to make this work. Okay. Real estate is not get rich quick. It's simple. It just takes some effort. Okay. So I look at it not so much as passive income, more like leveraged income. A lot of upfront work is just going to become passive in the future for you. So always try to be rewarding yourself in 10 years. Like, man, if I build this foundation now, wow, it'll be easier. I'll have the software in place, the systems in place where it doesn't take any of my time. The longer I do this, the more I buy, the less work I do. So I'm up to 350 doors, but I've got systems in place. I've got property managers, and it really only takes 10 to 15 minutes a week of my time just sort of checking in on things. But when I started, when I had one property, it did feel like a second job. And I was spending all my weekends and nights. So it's one of those weird things, counterintuitive, that the more you do, the easier it becomes and the less work you have to do. Now, I don't want to scare you off. I hope the systems here that you apply will not make it feel like a second job, because that's really a good way to make you fall out of love of real estate investing. Like I assume you want to get in here for some passive income, to supplement your income, to maybe leave your day job in the future. At least that's the reasons that I got started. And we're going to find out in this class what your reasons are so that we can build towards it. We can track it. We can make sure that you're successful. So with that being said, let's get started. Goal setting is very important to any venture, any transformation in your life, right? If you want to lose weight, you set a goal weight. If you want to reach a certain income level, you set an income, benchmark that you want to hit. You got to do the same thing with real estate investing. This is very, very important. I'm very goal oriented, which led to my first book here, $1 Million by 30. The title of the book was my goal. And when I had that very specific goal, it made all my decisions easy. It's sort of like bowling, but you have the bumpers in, right? Every decision was like, is this going to make me $1 million by 30, right? And it just became super easy. It almost was empowering, just took a weight off my shoulders. So every decision I could make in seconds rather than sleeping on it or hemming and hawing, because it was just like, yeah, man, if I buy this property, I will get closer to having $1 million by 30. If I, go on this vacation or this cheaper vacation, which one will help me get to be $1 million by 30? Well, this one I will be able to network with high net worth individuals, but this one I'll save a lot of money and then I can put more money in my own deal. Like you still sort of have a decision-making process, but it keeps you aligned, right? So that's what I want to set up day one. Very, very important. We got to know what your goals are. You have to know what your goals are so that you can stay in that bowling lane. So every decision you make, you knock down one pin. You don't have to get a strike every time. Just knock down one pin, because eventually you're going to knock down all 10. That is the goal today. And I'm so excited because this is the fun part. This is easy. There's no wrong answers here. So let's get started right now. Write down, why did you take this course? In your notepad, text it to yourself. Why did you take this course? And what is your goal with real estate investing? You can answer both of those questions right now, because we're going to dig in. Hit pause now, and then when you're done, hit play. All right. So you've written your goal down right there, and I'm glad you did that. That's the first step. And now I'm excited to say you did it wrong. So sorry to bash it. My guess is you wrote it down wrong, and that's okay. You haven't learned how to write a goal yet, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. So let's destroy that goal, and we're going to rebuild it up with the lessons we learned today. And if I'm wrong and you got it right, man, you're going to do awesome on this test. You're ahead of everyone else. So let's dig in and decide whether you did it right or you did it wrong. So this is this class, season 1 investing. That's you. You're a newer investor and you want to change your life and transform your life through real estate investing. And we got to figure out, why are you doing this? So this is how you write a goal. It's got to be a SMART goal. This is an acronym. This is actually taught in MBA classes. I've mentioned this before in podcasts and live streams, and the comments are, oh, we're learning this in my getting my master's. So this is not something I made up, but this has been around since the 70s, and it works, and we're still teaching it today. So this is how you write a goal, all right? And it's got to have a very specific goal, and we're going to dig in deeper in this in a minute. It's got to be measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So look at the goal that you've written. Does it capture all of these things? Maybe you're missing one or two. And I'll give you, we're going to dig really deep so you understand this, because I want you to understand each of these 5 components, because it needs to be in your goal so that you do not have paralysis analysis. This is the number one issue with new investors, is they're going to look for a new property. You will, and maybe you've already done this, you find one, and then you think, I wonder if I can find something better. And then so you go and you find something better. It might be a week later, it might be a month later, it might be 6 months later. And then you look at it, should I buy this? Maybe I can buy something better. And then what happens is you're 2 years later and you haven't bought any properties, but you bought a bunch of great ones. You found a bunch of above average ones. You just never pulled the trigger. But when you have a very specific goal, it's much easier to pull that trigger. So I want to get you over that hump, because I know real estate investing is sort of like learning a new language. And you got to just have the very specific buy box, your goals, so that the decision-making is much easier. Okay. You're going to be overwhelmed with choice and options, but if we can narrow sort of your goals and why you're in this, it'll keep you moving forward, because I don't want you to take this class, get all the education, and don't take any action. Now, I consider real estate investing very similar to swimming, okay? You could listen to every single swimming podcast out there. You could read every book on swimming, watch every interview with Michael Phelps, watch YouTube videos of every Olympic relay race that's ever been taken. You're never going to learn to swim until you jump in the pool. Real estate's the same way. The fact that you're taking this course, you're ahead of where I was when I got started. You know, I was 21. No offense to any 21-year-olds out there, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. No 21-year-old would know what they're doing. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have social media to consume content. All I had was a library. I could go out and check out books and learn real estate, and just did it. I had faith in myself that I could do it. I had a very specific SMART goal that directed all my decision-making. And you have all the resources. You have all the knowledge to do this. I just got to get you the step to actually apply the knowledge, right? Because you're going to learn the most doing. And there's no book, no podcast, no amount of education consumption out there that's going to cover every single scenario that you are ever going to go through, because it's all very unique. It's a people business. It's, local business. All you got to do is get started. I'm going to give you the foundations. That's what I love about real estate, is the same foundations that I invest in today were what investors did in 1900 and 1800. And that doesn't change. There's some technologies that change around it, like Airbnb wasn't around when I got started, and software property management systems didn't exist. And it's just getting easier and easier for you. You just got to get started, you got to jump in. So it starts with a SMART goal. So really, really pay attention here, and make sure that this is how you write your goal out. Okay. Let's have a very specific goal in mind here. What will be accomplished? We got to make sure that your goal is very specific and you've written down what will be accomplished. So the goal that you wrote when you pause the video, is it very specific? And what actions will you take to actually achieve this? So this makes it very easy to understand what you're going after and how you're going to go after it. So let's give some examples here. I want to be rich. Is this a specific goal? It is not, because you haven't defined what rich is. What is rich? Right? And it could be a sliding scale. So, you'll never know if you reach this goal because you never know what the definition of rich is. So that's very important. I want to be a millionaire. We're getting closer, right? We've defined it, but we don't know what a millionaire definition is. Is this with or without your primary? Is this $1 million cash? Is this $1 million, in real estate equity, or just $1 million worth of property? There's a bunch of different definitions of millionaire. So you want to make sure that it's more specific than that. And now here's a good one. I want to have $1 million net worth excluding primary residence. This is the IRS definition of a millionaire. They don't let you accept your primary residence as your net worth to be an accredited investor for whatever reasons. They just say, you got to not count your house because you got to live somewhere. So this is a definition. This is a very specific definition. So when you're looking at your goal, make sure it's specific in this way so that you know whether you've accomplished it or not and how you're tracking towards that. Now, is your goal measurable? What data will track this goal? You got to make sure that you understand that so that you can make sure you're progressing. How will you know if you've achieved it? These two things must be within your goal writing. So let's go through some examples. I want to be rich. Again, this is everyone's goal, but it's not, you're never going to reach it because it's not measurable. Like, what is rich? And what's rich to you today may not be what's rich to you in 5 years. And you'll never have that rewarding of accomplishment because you never know what's rich. And I promise you, is when you make more money, you're going to want to go make more money and then more money. It never ends. So give yourself a sort of a definition here and a way to track whether you're progressing towards being rich. I want to be richer than my parents. So this is a step in the right direction. But again, it's hard to measure. Like you want to be richer than your parents' highest income that they've ever earned, the amount of savings that they have. If you just wait it out, apparently, they'll eventually bleed their savings and you'll have more than them. So this is not really a tough goal because it's hard to measure. Like what definition of rich and what era of your parents' wealth, or it's you can't really track this. It's tough to know whether you got there or not. Well, here we go again. The same goal works. I want to have $1 million net worth excluding primary residence. Now, I'm not saying this has to be your goal. I'm just saying this is how you write a goal so that it can also be measurable and it's also very specific. I know when I've reached this, right? I can track my net worth as I go. It's just very, very clear definition. So rewrite your goal in a way this way. All right. The A of SMART is achievable. Is this an achievable goal? This might seem, obvious, but I want to make sure the goal is doable and that you have the skills and resources to accomplish it. There's some psychology behind setting goals and achieving it. Like, you're not going to ever be satisfied if you create a goal that you'll never reach, that you'll never get to fulfill, because then you're going to lose interest. It's going to be demotivating. So, for instance, let's go through some examples. I want to make $1 million by the end of the year. Now, I don't know your situation. This is possible. I think for most, if this is your sort of first class and you're buying your first couple properties, it's not really an authentic goal. Like, it can happen, but I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment, right? Maybe $1 million with your day job and your side hustles, and you get really lucky with a house investment, sure, but just strictly real estate investing, I think this is going to be too big, right? The fastest I've made $1 million was like 6 years, and that was I had a 10-year plan. I just happened to get it in 6 years, and so this may be too much, and you're biting off too much, and it'll just feel like you're never progressing, right? You want to make sure that you can have small wins along the journey here. I want to retire and do real estate full time after I buy my first rental. We all want this. This would be great. This is not a promise of a class, and anyone who does promise you this is not being truthful and honest. This is unrealistic. It takes time. Real estate is one of those things where you're going to build over time. So you buy and build that foundation, and over time it will retire you as your mortgage gets paid down and rent goes up. But to do that in one rental, a little too pie in the sky for me. I want to buy my first rental property in 90 days. Yes, this is very achievable. I put this in my book, House Fire, and I get messages all the time from readers telling me, Alan, because I put it in my calendar, like you said, and I did it in 90 days, I just bought a property in 90 days because I've been talking about buying real estate for 2 years. But the fact that I had a goal that within 90 days, I'm going to buy this property, then I did it. And this is how you want a very achievable goal. Put it in there. Like it shouldn't take more than 90 days, but it'll take 30 days to get the education, 30 days to look at properties, and then 30 days to close on it. This is more than enough time. But this is understandably, you're learning it. You're going to be a little cautious. You're going to go over some things. So 90 days is a safe, comfortable window where you're not going to feel stressed. And I love that this is a very achievable goal and one that I would recommend that you stick to as well. Now, is it a relevant goal? You want to make sure this goal that you're writing down is relevant to real estate investing and your larger goals. Does it align with your broader goals? And why is this result important? So let's dig a little bit deeper in here, because this is where sometimes the goals kind of go astray and you're trying to repurpose real estate for the wrong reasons. So let's give an example. I want to be a Latin pop star. Okay. We all do, maybe. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish and I don't know how to sing, but it sounds like fun to be a Latin pop star. But what does real estate investing have to do with that, right? It's not directly correlated, at least the way this goal's written. You could maybe rewrite it to say, I want to build a foundation of long-term cash flowing rentals so that I can leave my day job to pursue a career as a Latin pop star. Yeah, that would work. But the way that this is right now, it's just not relevant. I want to make $100,000 at my day job. Yeah, sure, we all do, but that doesn't mean anything for real estate. Like that's a separate goal. That's a goal for your day job. That's not a goal for real estate investing. They're separate goals. It's not relevant. And so you want to sort of really have a real estate focused goal here. So an example would be, I want to meet 5 real estate investors in my town that invest in multifamilies. Wow, that's very relevant, especially if you are a multifamily investor. If you're not investing in multifamilies, maybe rephrase that to be single families. But wow, that would be a relevant goal. I want to meet 5 people who are in my space and doing the same things. Why would you want to meet them? I mean, I'll tell you this, like investors don't really look at other investors as competition. It's like going to a anime, convention. It's, we're all into the same thing. Let's all nerd out on the same subject. That's what meeting other investors is like. And they're going to tell you about who their contractor is and what lender they use and their real estate agent and where they found deals and why not to buy in a certain neighborhood. They just want to nerd out on this thing that they're investing in, and they want to talk to other people so you can share stories. So this is a great way to network and learn a lot. Very relevant goal here. And the last one, time-bound goal. Is there a deadline? This is very, very important. So it's not open-ended. So you can really have a definite endpoint of whether you met your goal in time or not. So let's go through some examples. I want to be rich. Obviously, yeah, sure. Again, this is not time-bound. When? What's the time frame here? I want to be a millionaire. Again, great normal goal. It's just you got to give yourself a deadline. I want to have $1 million net worth, excluding my primary, by the age of 30. This is my $1 million by 30, right? So if you're very goal oriented, this is a great way to write the goal. It's also time bound here. And it's very, very important to have a deadline, because then you can definitely know whether you failed or met your mission here. So to recap, your SMART goals got to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. I really want you to focus on doing this. This is going to be your homework. Write a SMART goal. Is the goal that you wrote before, does this match? My guess is you had to scratch it out and you got to write a new one. So let's pause right now, and I'm going to put this back up on the screen. We're going to pause it right here and make sure your goal has these 5 components. I want to walk you through another way to sort of understand your why and your purpose in real estate. And this is called the 5 whys. All right. So if you did struggle with that, or if you just want another exercise, or if you want some introspective of why you are doing this, the 5 whys is a great opportunity to kind of get down to the nitty gritty of why you took this class. And you might not even realize the reason. So you ask yourself, why do you want to invest in real estate? And then whatever your answer is, you say, why? And then you write down your answer. And whatever you say your answer is, you say, why again? Why did I answer that? Then you say, why again and why again? Okay, now that you got an understanding of the 5 whys, I'm going to walk you through my personal 5 whys. I got started real estate investing 23 years ago because I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. And through some self-reflection, I stumbled into real estate investing. So let me walk you through the 5 whys of my own reasons for getting into real estate. And they might be the same as yours, and they might be completely different. And that's okay. Like I said, everyone's going to be different. So let's dig into my personal 5 whys. So why did I get started in real estate investing? Like I said, I wanted to focus on my comedy career. I moved to New York right after I graduated college. I had a degree in computer science, technically management information systems, but it was a .com boom, and that got me a job in pretty much any city I wanted to because I knew computers. Here's the thing, I hated computers, but what allowed me to move to New York so I could pursue a stand-up comedy career, I wanted to get paid for writing jokes. And I talked to some comedians when they came through Atlanta, and they said, well, if you want to get paid as a writer, you got to get up on stage yourself, and then someone will hire you to write for them. And I was like, there you go. That's my career path. Let me get a tech support job in New York so that I can move to New York and focus on my comedy career. So why do I want to focus on my comedy career, though? This is the second why. My answer was, I want to get paid for writing funny things. That just seemed like a dream job to me. And I never really thought why. So I had to ask myself why. Why do you want to get paid for funny things? And maybe not everyone wants to, but it seemed like a great career move to me. But if I really had some introspective and thought about it, my answer is and would have been to be creative each day would make every day different and not feel like work. I have ADHD, so maybe that's part of it. Routines are tough for me in many ways. I also consider myself a creative person, so I want to be creating something that's fun. It doesn't feel like work. I find writing jokes, I entertain myself probably more than I entertain the audience. So I probably would be more successful if I switched that around. But that was my answer. So I had to why that. Why would being different each day not feel like work? Well, I felt like a routine in a corporate environment is the worst case scenario for me career-wise. I had a taste of it. I was working in my day job for a year. And when I decided that I was going to start investing in real estate, I was like, this is not what I'm built for. This is not what I want to do. I'm really not interested in computers. It's really hard for me to be passionate about tech support or software. I was passionate about making money and writing and comedy. And I just knew I could go further. I didn't have to, wear a suit and tie, like all these things that just wasn't something that I would default to doing. And I just felt like I had to act. I felt like I was acting every day when I went into my corporate job, and I wasn't myself. And I knew I wouldn't be able to perform at my best if I wasn't completely comfortable in my skin. And so why is this worst case scenario? I believe a boss and a routine would limit what I'm capable of achieving career-wise. And I still believe that. I wanted to be completely control of my life, career-wise. I'm okay if I burn and fail. That's on me. I'm happier trying and failing than I am by not trying. Like I just have to try and prove it to myself whether I can do it or not. And I've failed several times in being a serial entrepreneur, and it's okay. Real estate investing actually fits really well as this because, as I've mentioned on many interviews and podcasts I've done before, I found that I didn't want to do stand-up comedy full time. I actually want to do real estate investing full time. So what's interesting is real estate investing ended up replacing my comedy career because my why, when I read it back to me and I took all those answers and said, why am I doing this? It was, I want to invest in real estate so that I can achieve maximum success through a career that is creative, unpredictable, and one I'm fully responsible for. So that could be comedy writing. This also fits well with just being a full-time real estate investor and becoming an education instructor in real estate and writing books. So everything that I end up doing actually fits this. And what's happened is real estate is the main driver of that career, but it's provided so much income. I'm able to do other careers that also fit this mold. I could go back to comedy writing right now if I wanted to, but I feel like I get that creative outlet through writing blog posts and Twitter threads and things like that. So I feel like I'm still accomplishing my why through real estate, and it feels good. It doesn't feel like work every day for me. And I want that for you. And that's why it's important to understand why are you doing this and how you're going to build your life through real estate investing. So please, I know not everyone's going to actually do the homework and write out everything, but some of you are, and I think it's going to be very productive to the ones that do, who really want to change their life, who really want to understand why they're real estate investing, because it's going to help those stay on track, say yes to the investments, see a path forward, be optimistic, think about, hey, why am I doing this? Sure, there's going to be a lot of headaches. Sure, there's going to be a lot of leveraged income, which means a lot of upfront work I got to do now that's going to pay off later. But what keeps you moving, what keeps you driving is understanding your own personal why. So you can download the SMART goals and the 5 why sheets below if you haven't already done it. And the ones who do, you're going to be well prepared for the next class. You're going to be well prepared to building your life in real estate, investing on a solid foundation and a purpose, which will make everything much easier for you. And I'll see you in the next class where we're going to take it from here.